In this video we will glue the top braces to the top. Okay, start by retrieving your top from the cabinet, make sure you have the right number, and lay out dry fit, that is, your braces onto the top. Notice that the scallop goes on the lower bout and the flat portion of that major brace goes at the intersection, and then the other legs butt up against that. Make sure you have these oriented correctly. If you cut them right, there should be small gaps there. And that little cap piece, which you'll find on the center table, that's already been cut for you, that's very important to bridge that broken joint. And our bridge plate and the lower braces, the upper brace, finger braces, sound hole braces, and the shorter finger braces, and then the neck pocket blocks, and also that little piece that was cut out. Make sure that the height of those three braces is the same, so see the instructor if it isn't. Then these are oriented, you want to make sure that you orient them so that the heights are the same as well. It's okay if the upper brace, the one that left to right, is slightly taller, but it should only be a small amount. You don't want the upper brace to be shorter. Okay, let's start by accelerating the X brace, and I'll show you the order in which that's best to make these. And you can ignore all the other accelerator dots. We're going to do this, I'm going to suggest doing this differently than I actually made this particular guitar. Okay, lay out your main X, the full length, and that goes from lower right to upper left. Hold that for 10 seconds still. That's a very important brace. And this one, also put glue on the end and butt the brace up against the X. Similarly for this leg, push it up against the X. Make sure you have some good glue squeeze out. Then you can accelerate the tops of these braces and put the cap on. That cap, even though it's a small piece of wood, is very important. Now we'll accelerate the bridge plate, just the bridge plate, and then we will glue on the bridge plate. We're doing this in a different order because I found that once the accelerator evaporates, it's no longer effective. So it's best to apply the accelerator just before the glue. And now you can apply glue to the any gaps that may be between the bridge plate and the X's. Then we'll accelerate the lower face braces and glue those on. Then we'll accelerate the upper brace. And this wide one, we're going to use 2 strips of super glue. Hold that, as all of them, hold it for 10 to 15 seconds still. And then I would suggest accelerating all of the finger braces. So the long fingers are easy to spot, but the other 2 are easily confused. The ones with the ends that have a steeper chamfer, those go by the sound hole, and the ones with a shallow chamfer, those are fingers. You can do 2 of these at once if you can hold them. Those are the sound holes with the steeper chamfer on the end. And don't forget that little other sound hole brace. Okay, now lateral position of these, you want them to be either flush with the edge or slightly outboard, and you want them to be as flush as possible with the front of the kerfing right there, not behind or in front. When they are flush, there will be a gap to the upper brace, and that's normal. I suggest you don't accelerate these because we want some time to position them accurately. So flush with the front edge of the kerfing, and either flush or slightly inboard of the neck pocket. And if you want to, you can apply accelerator here. It tends to be very smelly because it it's hard to do just a little bit that way. Same deal, flush with the kerfing, inboard or flush with the hole, outboard or flush. Now check the fit of the neck, that neck block on top of those. It's okay there to see a small gap as shown there. You don't want a gap on the upper brace on the right there. That's where most of the stress is taken to the brace. So if you need to, sand these braces to lower them until it's either flush or touching the upper brace. Okay, now place this cast iron block in the beginning there. You saw there was a small piece of scrap top. That's to keep it parallel and perpendicular to the top. And that's placed on top of the top surface, the spruce surface, because this is simulating the inside face of the siding. And then you can assemble your neck, dry fit your neck blocks. I put glue on the spruce, 2 strips for all these 1/2 inch ones, and accelerator on the plywood. You kind of have to visualize where it'll go. And now, keeping the cast iron block from moving, bring that straight down so that it's flush with the cast iron and square with everything else. And then glue an accelerator for this block. This is going to define the inside of the siding. And now this one takes 2 services of glue and accelerator. And that goes to reinforce the corner. Okay, if there's any squeeze out that got on the cast iron after it's dry, please scrape that off. And you'll notice some gaps in the X pocket brace there, so just dribble some super glue and let gravity pull it through on all 4 edges. And then inspect your top very carefully for any gaps. And I found a small gap here between the plywood and one of those neck pocket braces. So just use gravity and super glue, and that will fill that. This is the most important one structurally, so make sure that that's a good joint. And right now your top is still quite flat. It's dry. It came out of the drying cabinet. We put the braces on. It's starting to develop a slight arch. If you come back in a day, and for the rest of this guitar's life, once it rehumidifies to normal humidity, it will expand, and then it will go into this arch shape. And this is what we want, so that we can construct our guitar and it will last.